Anyway, so the guy said, I don't understand why you're putting up with this. You're a beautiful woman. You have years ahead of you. You need someone that's going to nurture you and be kind to you and treat you like a lady. So he would start taking me out to dinner and polite, opening the doors, treating me like, chivalry was not dead. And I was like, I like this. Why can't my husband do this? Why can't I have it with him? You can't make a narcissist chivalrous after the idealization phase is over. They won't. They'll go and find their next supply, and that's what he was doing apparently. And I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I'm starving for affection here. And that's what he kept saying. You're starving for affection. Here, let me hug you, let me kiss you. And he was tender with me. There was a tenderness there that was not there with my first husband. Thanks, hearts. Anyway, I'm trying to think. Okay, so we would sit and watch the stars and he would kiss me in between, and it was like a romance movie. It was fantasy, and it was beautiful, and it touched my heart, and it made me realize, yeah, why am I going home to this guy that tells me if it wasn't for me, you'd be nothing, and turns my kids against me and riles me up and then blames me and says, look at you, that's the reason you're in therapy and I'm not. So I couldn't do it anymore. And I knew I had to leave. So I tried to find a way out. And the last straw was he basically came up to me and said, I need you to help me get on the computer. And I didn't want him on my computer because I knew what he was doing on there. And he got angry. And he said, well, you're the only one that knows how to do computer stuff, because I was very computer literate. I still am computer literate, like to an extent. Literate, not illiterate. I know how to maneuver around on the internet somewhat. How? I don't know. One day I got on and it just all kind of came to me and stuff. I wouldn't let him do it. I was like, no, I don't want to help you get on that stuff. That's sinful. That's wrong. I'm not going to do that. And he got very angry with me and held his hand up to me like this. He said, I ought to knock your head off. That was it. That was it. I was done. I was done. I decided at that point I was done. I talked to the guy I was with. He said, I'll help you get out. You can't live with me because my wife still comes to the house and stuff. So I didn't go and live with him. I did not go and move in with him or anything like that. He waited across the street while I started packing up what I wanted. I called a shelter. He called a shelter for me. He said, they'll take you, but you need to get there tonight. So picture this. It's nighttime. You're packing up everything. You don't even know what to pack up.
Hey, Laura.
Yeah. Aw. You don't even know what to pack up. You're sitting there going, do I take a suitcase? Do I take all my clothes? Do I take some of my clothes? How am I going to get all this stuff back here? How am I going to get my car? I didn't know. Meanwhile, I have a 10-year-old child who's crying her head off. I don't want to be a statistic, Mom. This is what I was afraid of. I don't want to leave, Dad. Please don't make me choose between you and Dad. Please don't make me do it. I remember it like it was yesterday, like it was 5 minutes ago. I remember feeling guilty, scared, angry, frustrated, used, abused, whatever. All of that emotion on my shoulders going, I don't even know where I'm going. I don't even know this place I'm moving into. I've never been there. So, yeah, G, me too. Many times I left him. And every time I would go back, he'd say, see, I told you you'd be back. If you leave again, you'll always come back, because you do. You always come back. So I knew this time I could not come back again, because he had that over me, because he was right. I always went back, and I always got abused when I came back. So anyway, sorry if I'm shouting or sounding irritated. Every time I tell the story, the feelings come back up again. So sorry if I'm, not handling this well or whatever. So anyhow, the guy said, he called, we were on the phone, the cell phone. He goes, just get your stuff. I'm across the street. If he lays a hand on you or does anything to you, wave out the window and I will be over there. Now, this is an old man. I don't know what he thought he was going to do to my husband at the time. I was like, okay, well, yeah. And you can't make this stuff up. People will probably get on my channel and, oh, she made up the whole sob story, so we feel sorry and send her money or whatever. No, it has nothing to do with it. I'm telling it because it needs to be told, because people can relate. Because if you are in an abusive situation right now, you know what I was going through, and you know how important it is for you to get away from it, but maybe you can't. So please take care of yourself and always tell yourself what a wonderful person you are inside. Because the narcissists, the abusers will tear you down to the point where you believe that you're a nothing and a nobody. And you're way more than that. Believe me, you're way more than that. Anyhow, so the man said, just get your stuff and get out. And meanwhile, the girls, my other daughters, you're not taking her. You're not taking Amber. You're not taking her. You leave her here. You go to your little floozy lover boy, but you leave her here. So I have all these feelings and emotions. I have people shouting at me. I couldn't think straight. It was like, you're welcome, G. I'm glad that I could help. I'm glad God is working through me to help people get out of abuse, because I don't believe that's his heart for us. Anyhow, they're like, no, Mom, you're not taking her. You're not taking her. And my husband at the time said, no, girls, just be quiet. Let her take her. You'll see her again. It's not forever. Just let her go. Let her do what she has to do. So I got whatever I could get, got in the guy's car. He said, first thing I'm doing is I'm not leaving you without a way to communicate. We're going to get you some charge on your cell phone. We're going to get you some money on your cell phone. So he took me to a local store. We put money on my cell phone. God bless him for that. Because if you've ever been in a shelter and you have no way to communicate with anybody, it's absolutely terrifying. I had my cell phone. I could at least talk to people. My TV's too loud. That's actually my husband's computer. I could tell him to turn it down a little bit. Honey, are you in there? Yeah, I'm in here. Can you turn that down a little? Sure, why not? Or put earphones on or something? He said, sure, why not? But I'm sure he wasn't happy about that. Anyway, so I remember telling my daughter, it's going to be okay. And she was sobbing, of course. I didn't want to leave Daddy. Tomorrow's Easter. What are we going to do? We're not going to be with my sisters for Easter. Yeah, and it would be many Easters before she would be with her sisters again. We got to the shelter and they made everybody there an Easter basket. And I am so thankful for that shelter and their kindness and the people that donated those baskets. You have no idea what it's like. Well, I mean, some of you do. And I don't mean everybody has no idea. But it's very hard. It's very hard to leave your family, leave your pets, leave everything you've known for 23 years, go to a place you've never been to, and take your youngest daughter who's angry with you, but also torn between the two of you, crying, sobbing, missing her Easter with the family that we had every year together, and not know what you're going into. And then somebody comes and says, we know this is hard on you. Here's some Easter baskets. They had new towels for us. They had some food stuff, just beautiful, nice, thoughtful stuff, bath gels, whatever. And you might think when you donate to a shelter, oh, that's not a big deal. I'm telling you, as a recipient of those things, that meant everything to me at that moment. That was all I had. That was my Easter, was this beautiful basket with all these wonderful things in it that I could sort through, and they were things of my own. And my daughter got one too, with little toys and things in her basket. It was beautiful. I cried. I literally cried. I was sobbing. This is so beautiful. Thank you. I mean, I was losing it. I was so losing it. I was like, you just really know how people really care at that moment. You really do. You feel that so deeply. Anyway, I don't mean to not exaggerate, but I don't mean to focus on that so much, but it really touched my heart. And the next day was Easter, and we were together in the shelter alone. We didn't go back to my ex-husband or my daughter's sisters, my other daughters. We were in the shelter, and we were in the shelter for quite a while. Then we moved to another shelter. I was in college at the time, so I was still going to my classes, and I was coming into the shelter late, and I was about to get kicked out of the shelter because they have a curfew. You have to be in by a certain time. Well, my classes were way past that time. I had to go to night classes sometimes or late afternoon. So I talked to the lady at the shelter. She said, why don't you talk to your counselor? Because I've seen a therapist at the time just to try to sort out everything. She said, talk to your therapist and see what she suggests. Shay, why is there a sheet hanging in the home? Hold on. Let me show you why there's a sheet hanging in my home. There's many sheets, actually. See, there's a brown one. There's a teal one. There's a white one. And it's because right over here, my beautiful husband is sitting there playing his games, watching his movies, and that is my bedroom. That's why. Any more questions? I'm happy to answer them. I hold no secrets, none whatsoever. Hi, Brandy. All right. Did that answer your question, Shay? I want to make sure I clear all that up. We don't have a wall between our kitchen and our bedroom. So, yeah. Okay. And Daisy, I am so sorry you went through that. I'm sorry I can't read the comments while I'm talking because I'm really kind of reliving this stuff while I'm telling you it. So sorry if I miss any comments. I'm really sorry about that. I know somebody complained about that yesterday. Anyhow, I'm trying to condense this version a little bit. When we moved to, I went to the therapist. She said, I'll tell you what, you are in college. You're trying to better yourself. Why don't I talk to this other shelter, and then I need you to call them. They may be able to put you in this shelter so that they don't have a curfew. You'll be able to move over there and not be breaking curfew and not get kicked out. But that means you're going to have to leave the shelter you're in. Now, I was at that shelter long enough to make some pretty close friends. So leaving meant leaving new friends and new connections. More pain, more heartache for my daughter and for me. But we did. We left. We went over to the next state over, moved into that shelter. I finished my college degree. And from then on, I moved in with I met and moved in with my new husband, whom was my boyfriend / fiance, that I also met on not a radio dating show, but speeddate.com. We'll kind of not go into all of that, but I lived with him for like 2 years, married to him. And then the next year we moved here to this house that I live in now. He lived here with me. It looked like a house at the time. It had beautiful white walls, carpeting, everything before the floods, 2 floods. But one came into the house and was up to below my knee. Floors were floating. Carpets were floating. It was crazy. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate that. Yeah. So my daughter was excited about her birthday party. She was having a slumber party. Now, in the past, she had a slumber party back in like 6th grade or something. Her friends at the slumber party went into her bedroom, locked her out of her bedroom during her birthday slumber party, and would not allow her into her own bedroom. So obviously she didn't have great success or history with slumber parties, but she wanted to try again. Hi, Helen. She wanted to try again. So now she was, what was she, 11, 12? I can't remember. I think she was 11. I'm on your TV. Okay. She's like, Mom, I'm excited. I want to have a slumber party. I already know who I'm inviting. She named the name of her friend, and her friend was bringing her friend, and she invited quite a few people. Not everybody shows up at slumber parties sometimes. She ended up with 2 people showing up, 2 girls. We went out to the Dollar Tree and bought everything luau we could find, like the Lays and the little trinkets and the cups with the palm trees on them, the whole 9 yards for this exciting luau. Colorful candies. We were so excited. I set up the yard with a tablecloth, with all the fancy stuff all laid out. It was beautiful. It turned out so nice. We were so excited. Okay, well, the girl comes with her friend. The girl's grandmother brought both of them. I'm not naming names because that's not right. And I'm not going to name a child's name anyway because that's definitely not right as far as I'm concerned. If it's my children, that's one thing. But these were their friends, and these are anonymous people, and they need to remain so. Anyways, so they came to the house. I have on film the one girl saying this. She said, Mrs. Villarreal, which is what my name was at the time, Mrs. Villarreal, are you filming this? Are you going to be taking pictures and filming this party? And I said, yeah. Why? I mean, it's a birthday party. It's Amber's slumber party. She said, oh, good, because if I get killed on the way home or something happens to me, I want something to remember it by. I was like, what? She was like 14 or something like that. And I thought that was very odd. And then throughout the day, she would make comments about, oh, I really think you and your husband are so happy. I hope I have a husband like that someday. And just stuff that, in my opinion, a 14-year-old, that's way too advanced. Seriously, that's way too advanced for a 14-year-old to say something like that. Unless something happened to that 14-year-old. I'm in Illinois, Shay. I don't want to give, exact address out, but I'm in Illinois, near the Mississippi River. So anyhow, I was troubled by that. I didn't say anything, and I was trying to just be, cool about it. I'm like, I'm gonna make this nice for my daughter. She is finally getting to have this slumber party. We made it so pretty for her. I don't want it to be ruined by this odd girl that came here that isn't acting like quite normal. Sorry about pulling up my shirt. It's bothering me. I'm seeing me in camera and it's crooked, and I'm a little OCD myself. So anyway, the girls were playing on like a slip and slide that we made. And my husband at the time was out there with them when I was making Kool-Aid and things like that and watching them. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't really have any reason to be nervous about it. They were just playing and my husband was supervising. Usually you can trust your husband to supervise, right? It's your husband. Anyhow, I won't get into that yet. I'm going to come back to that video that I took of him, or that picture that I took of him supervising them. All right. So it was getting close to nighttime. The girls were in a tent and they were going to basically have a slumber party sleepover type thing in the tent. And the girl that had all the crazy issues that was acting odd came in to me and said, I can't sleep out there. I can't stay out in the tent. Andrea, write me at DelusionDispeller@gmail.com. We can talk about that. Okay. I'll tell you privately more about some stuff. All right. I said, that's fine, honey. You don't have to stay in the tent if you're uncomfortable. She goes, there's something out there. It was coming towards me. It was like a creature or something, or a person. And the more I tried to get away, the more it was coming towards me in the tent. And I can't be out there. I said, that's fine. And my husband at the time brought her in and we prayed over her. We laid hands on her and prayed for peace, for comfort, just for, whatever, so she could enjoy the party the rest of the time, not be so tormented. She said, thanks, I feel a lot better, or something like that. All right. We had probably a little snack or something, and I basically tucked the girls in. There was a couch here, a cot here, and I believe another couch here. And my husband's easy chair was like right about here, kind of between the couch and the cot. Okay. I was exhausted. I'd been planning a party all day. I was totally wiped out. All right. So, ugh, I went to bed. Um, oh wait, hold on a minute. Oh no, there's more to this story. Hang on. You don't worry, Elizabeth. You can watch it all. It's all on. It'll be on, posted on my channel so you can watch it. The girl comes in and says, "Mrs. Villarreal, can I go for a walk and take your daughter and this other girl, the friend, with me?" "Yeah, fine. Where are you going?" "Oh, I don't know. We're just going to walk." I said, "Okay, I'll tell you what. There's a bridge at the end of the corner. You guys can go up on the bridge and turn around and come back. Okay, I don't want you going anywhere farther than that. I want you right back here." "Okay, no problem." So they go up to the bridge, and I'm cleaning up the house and getting things ready for, nighttime to end the slumber party or start the slumber party. I mean, sorry. Um, the slumber part of the slumber party. They come back, and the two girls, the girl with her friend, stay outside for a minute. And then the one girl, my daughter's friend, comes in and says, "Mom, I need to tell you something." And I'm like, "Okay, what's going on? Hold on, I need to plug in my computer." All right. My daughter comes in with her friend and says, "I need to tell you something, Mom, but I really don't want to tell you, so don't make me tell you." When your daughter says that, you're like, you better fess up. Yeah, I want to know what's going on right now. I'm not going to punish you. You're not in trouble. Please just tell me what happened, what's going on. You look upset. She said, "Well, Mom, so and so was on her cell phone talking to a guy, and he mentioned something that he wanted to do with us." I said, her boyfriend?" She goes, "Well, it's not really a boyfriend. I don't know. I don't know who he is. But she mentioned that he was somebody she'd been talking to for quite a while. He seemed to know her pretty well, and he wanted to get together with us." I said, "Get together with you?" She said, "Yeah, all three of us together." I was livid. I was like, OMG. "Hi, Markalarka. Welcome." "Yeah, oh, no, 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 no." So I told my husband at the time privately, "This is what's going down with this girl. Something is very wrong. Um, we can't be having this happening." He said, "I'll get her cell phone from her. That's not going to happen while she's here." Okay. I was like, "Okay, well, I don't know how you're going to do that." He said, "Oh, trust me, I'll get it." So he apparently went out to the tent, told her he needed her phone, just in case it rained so it wouldn't get wet and she'd get it back the next day after the slumber party was over. She said, "Okay." She gave him, I hear you, bombshell conspiracy theories. Um, she gave him the cell phone. He brought it in. He goes, "I told you I'd get it." I said, "Okay, good." "Yeah, I know, Candace, really." Well, she was pretty far away. So it wasn't as simple as just calling the grandmother to take him home. Plus, it would have broken my daughter's heart. She was excited about the sleepover with the popcorn, and it's a slumber party. Anyway, so he gets the phone. I'm trying to remember all this because this was a while ago. Anyway, we get the phone, and the girls are in for the night. I well, the one girl was on the couch, the girl that was talking to the guy. We didn't address it. We did not confront it. It wasn't our business. We felt we would probably talk to the grandmother about what was going on, but we had a feeling grandma knew and really wasn't supervising. But we still were planning on talking to her at some point. I tucked the girls in. The one girl's on the couch. My daughter was over on the other couch, and the friend was in the middle. Okay. So you got like basically 14, 15-year olds. I think my daughter was not 15. She was like, no, maybe she was 15, 14, 15. I think she was 15. She was turning 15 because that was her birthday. All right. So anyhow, so you got the three girls laying there. And my husband at the time says, honey, you can go to bed. I'll watch over things and make sure that guy doesn't come here. Because if the girl's on the phone, she may have given him our address or whatever. Who knows? I'm like, okay. He says, I'll make sure everything's, okay. Okay. So I go to bed, go to sleep. It's what you do in a bed. You go to sleep. It was right in the other room. It was in that room, right here. I'll walk over here and show you where it was. Right here. This was our bedroom. This room. This is where the girls were sleeping, in here, which is now my bedroom with my current husband. It was a living room with the couch, the cot, the couch. Okay, so you can picture that in your head. I go to sleep, wake up the next morning. Everything seems normal day. My husband at the time and I decided to get a carpet for our room because remember, we had been through the flood. So we were trying to fix things up. We laid a carpet pad down. We were cutting the carpet. Oh wait, I jumped the gun. Sorry about that. Let me rewind a little bit. We went to our local grocery store, and my husband at the time was acting really odd. He was walking up to people saying random odd stuff. Now, he's a little mentally slow, so that wasn't unusual for him to act goofy. I knew that. But he started saying odd things to people like, zip up your zipper on people that didn't even have a zipper on their pants, like odd stuff like that. He was just being way weird odd. And I was like, honey, what's going on? I mean, this is odd even for you, and you're pretty goofy most of the time, but this is really out of your character. Is something bothering you? No, nothing's bothering me. Okay, whatever. He kept on doing this and he kept walking up to like the store managers and stuff and acting really crazy. And I was like, okay, something's wrong. I don't know what to do. He asks me how much money is on our food stamp card. And I said, I don't know. I haven't checked it. What do you mean you haven't checked it? I haven't checked the food stamp card. Well, I need to know how much how much money is on there. I'm like, okay, I'll find out. Well, you need to do it right away. I'm like, why are you being like this? And he's like, I'm not being like anything. I said, you're acting really strange. I'm not acting strange. You are. And he's like yelling at me in the middle of the store. People are looking. I'm embarrassed. I wanted to get out of Dodge because everybody's looking at me at this point. I'm like, you need to calm down. I will be down that aisle, a few aisles away. When you can treat me civilly, I will be back with you and we can go home. He followed me through the store, hollering, madder than a wet hen, blah, 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 blah. Finally, he catches up to me. I said, you know what? I will grab what we need, grab what you need. We are going home as soon as we check out. Okay, so we check out, we go home. I start getting texts from the girl. I can't play with your daughter anymore because your husband touched me in a bad way. I'm like, no. I'm like, look, I know you have some problems. I know you're in therapy. I think you need to talk to your counselor because I knew she was odd. Remember, I told you how she was acting during the whole slumber party. So I thought she was making it up. And then I thought about it for a minute and I was like, what if this really happened? Would my husband really do this? I mean, I know he's goofy, but would he really do this? I didn't know. So I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I'll talk to him. I'm so sorry that happened. Did you tell your grandmother? I was trying to comfort her at that point, realizing, oh my God, what if she's really telling the truth? So anyhow, that was the end of that phone conversation. We went and got the carpeting like I told you. We're laying carpeting. I hear this. I'm like, what the heck? We don't get visitors. Who's here? We really don't. My current husband and I rarely get visitors. So I'm still laying carpet and I hear it again. I'm like, honey, somebody's at the door. He goes, you go ahead and answer it. I'm going to lay this carpet. I'm like, okay. I open the door and there's two of these plain clothed men standing at my door. I thought they were Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons or something. Can we speak to your husband, please? Sure. Honey, it's for you. He goes out. They're out there talking for quite a while. He comes in and he says, "We need to go down to the police station." Oh, and I had confronted him about what the girl texted me, and he's like, "I can't believe you'd think I'd do anything to her." Okay, so that was before. So we did talk about that. Okay, Heart's Truth. See you later. Thanks for coming in. All of it will be on YouTube later. So, anyways, um, he says we got to go to the police station, and I said, "Well, okay, you can drive." He's like, "No, I'm not driving." I said, "Why not?" He said, "I don't have a license." I said, "That never stopped you before," because at the time, neither one of us were living right. Basically, we weren't obeying things we should have been obeying. We were not doing what we should do. What is that? My phone? Yeah. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna get through my story. All right. So anyhow, where am I at? Okay, so we're driving to the police station, and he's saying to me, um, "I know what's going on. I know what's happening. I know what they want to talk to me about." I said, "Is this about the girl?" I'm not saying her name. "I know what they want. Just trust me. That I know. I know they're not going to do anything to me. I know." And I'm like, "Wow." I said, "Okay, whatever. I'm not going to push it." Brought him in. We get down there. They say we need to talk to him, and I'm sitting on these benches alone, not knowing what to expect. They're in there for hours. I don't know how many hours. Felt like days. They were in there for hours. I was sitting there with nothing to do, expecting they're just going to talk to him. We're going to get in the car and drive home. Yeah, not. They come out, and without giving extreme details, they say, "We need to talk to you. Come in this room with us." So I sat down. They said, "We've spoken to your husband. He has," oh my gosh, my heart was racing. I felt like my life was ending. I mean, it was absolutely a nightmare. This is stuff that only happens on the news to other people. This isn't stuff that happens to you. Okay. That's how I felt at that moment. This doesn't happen to me. This happens on TV and on movies, not in my life. So they're like, we questioned him, and he admitted to everything. Her story lined up with his. This is what happened. This is the details. Like I said, I'm not getting into that. Not necessary. Um, but everything lined up. And so he's not going home with you. We've already bedded him down for the night. And I was like, "Oh, um, what does that mean? What do you mean? Can I go say goodnight to him? Can I say goodbye to him?" "No, I think he's already in, for the night. They're not allowed visitors at this point or whatever." So he turns to his whatever worker and he goes, "I'm right, right?" They put him in for the night, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's already there. They got him all bedded down for the night." I was like, "Okay, well, all right." So that's it. They're like, "Well, his hearing is tomorrow. You can possibly, go and visit him tomorrow if you want. And but till then, no, you can't see him." Now, this was my husband, okay, not a boyfriend, not a fiance, not a good friend. This was my husband who I was married to, okay? So why did I want to talk to him? I was in love with him. I loved him. It was my husband. I didn't First of all, I didn't even know whether I could believe it. You're in a state of shock. This is a person that you ate dinner with, ate breakfast with, went shopping with, went to family gatherings with. This was your husband, okay? Um, yeah, it was really hard. How did I feel at that moment? Somebody asked me at that very moment. In shock. Like, no, 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 not him. Come on, there has to be something. No, some misunderstanding. the girl lied, or maybe no, she probably didn't lie. No, it was exaggerated, or everything goes through your mind at that point. You're trying to piece things together and figure out what on earth just happened. I remember I cried so hard. I pulled off the road, sat there and sobbed and said, God, why? Why? What did I do to deserve this? Why does this keep happening that I keep getting hurt? Why did he do this? If he did he do it? I mean, so many things. And yes, I know the flamers, the vipers, and everybody are going to come out on this one. And see, we told you she's messed up, blah, blah, blah. She hooks up with these people. No, nobody has guarantees in life of how things are going to turn out. You can marry somebody that's a flipping executive of a company, and they can go and, do something to the secretary or become a pedophile. So don't even start, not you guys, don't even start trying to tell me how, oh, you pick all these losers and whatever. It wouldn't have mattered who I picked. It matters who that person is. So I'm not owning that, okay? I cared about him. That's why I picked him. I loved him. He seemed to love me. What I didn't know was that he was brain damaged. He was very mentally ill, still is to this day. There was never any evidence, or not enough evidence, against him to even prove him guilty. So we don't know if anything actually happened, but I'm pretty sure something did. And to this day, I won't know. They never found enough evidence to convict him or do anything. He was in jail for 9 months, I believe, and then out. And, okay, wait for it, because many of you may even leave the room at this point and hate me or look at me as such a terrible, awful person. My current husband and I have hung out with him and his girlfriend. His girlfriend has issues too, but I'm friends with her. He is not an evil person. He is mentally ill. He was abused as a child. He was born with mental issues. And this happens sometimes. If you don't believe me, look up Down syndrome relationships, look up mental illness in relationships. It happens, okay? I don't hate the man. I can't prove he did anything or didn't do anything. The girl is doing fine that it happened with, believe me. I do not believe I was groomed by him. He is not even mentally stable enough to even know what that means. He wasn't when I was with him. He was not one of these intentional abusers at all. So, no, I know, bombshell. I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying it was. At any rate, we're going to go into my opinion and my perception again. I personally do not like being around him for any length of time. I tolerate him. No, I do not feel I can fix him. No. Even the mental health system cannot fix him. At this point, he has dementia. And he has his own issues to deal with. I don't own his issues. I did not talk to the girl. I was told by the courts, which is why I know why Shanann and Chris, their families are not talking, because the courts tell you, do not say anything to anybody, especially on the internet. Don't get on there and talk about the case. Don't talk about him. Don't talk about her, or we will get you for harassment. So I go from being this person that tries to be a good wife, good mother, a good person, to basically being threatened. You cannot be open and honest about any of this, because we will then call you the criminal and arrest you. That's what I went through. Okay. So, I don't know to this day what happened. That was a period in my life that was very upsetting. Yes, I divorced him after a year of visiting him in the jail and getting 50 zillion different stories because he could never tell the same story twice about what really happened. They realized he was mentally not all there, so they did not keep him in jail. So, like I said, he met his woman, his girlfriend, who I'm very close friends with. Um, and yeah, so that was a big part of my life. It was 2.5, 3 years of my life. Then I met my current husband, and y'all know the story about that. And so I don't know. That's just a big part of who I am and what I've been through. And right, Candace, exactly. So people are gonna treat him garbagey and call him names and label him, and it's not fair. As far as I am concerned, and I'm gonna say this with all honesty, might make some people mad, and I frankly don't care. Just because somebody is charged with something, just because somebody has to register, just because somebody has issues in their life, does not make them an evil person. There are people that wear labels that the government, that the court system, that other people have given them. That does not necessarily mean they fit the stereotypical situation. And I'm not getting into details on that. But I have met many ex-cons. I actually took 2 of them into my home years ago. Well, one of them, he brought his friend when he wanted to. Um, they had not murdered anybody or anything like that. But just because somebody is given a label does not mean that you can just slap that label on and every characteristic with that label goes with that label. It doesn't. So, to me, that is the darkest form of judging somebody, is believing that you know everything about them because they were labeled by a system. For instance, somebody is labeled, trying to think. There's a difference between a thief that steals a car and a thief that robs a bank. I'm hiding a comment here that somebody's sending to me that I don't really think needs to be posted. Would be a good way to end anyway.